I mean, because you're not completely sure who the villain is the first part of the movie, because you just have a missing actor, more or less. You don't know what's going on, why he's disappeared, what's happening. So
Right.
the fact that Colt Seavers gets sent to go look for him, he goes to his hotel room. He doesn't find anything at first, but then he goes into finds the bathtub full of ice and the dead body, and then he begins to realize something way worse just happened here than what I was initially told. And
Yeah.
of course, because he was seen coming out of the room, that gets him involved in the whole situation. And so now it's like he's trying to clear his name, and
So this, I think, is where the movie really somewhat depends on your interpretation.
Mhm.
There's two very strong plot lines
Mhm.
that go throughout the story. One is the plot line around Tom Rider
Mhm.
and Colt Seavers finding the actor that he stunt doubles for
Mhm.
and figuring out that whole situation. The other plot line is his relationship with Jody Moreno and whether or not they'll get back together, right? Which of those is the A plot, the primary plot, and which of those is the B plot, the subplot?
Well, clearly the relationship is the driving motive, at least. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, because let's face it, if he didn't have this relationship with Jody, he would not be there.
Right.
When he's initially called at the beginning of the movie to take this role on, he flat out rejects it several times before he's told this is Jody's first movie and like her first director's debut,
Mm-hmm.
and only then does he change his mind and like, okay, then I'll come down and help if she wants me on. And he's also under the impression she wants him there, which he then finds out she doesn't know he's coming and doesn't know he's there until he's already there on set.
Yeah.
And then of course, and then at that point, he still wants to help her and help her achieve her dream of making this movie. So, I mean, I guess in a way, it kind of is it's the driving plot, I guess. Like the romance, like the relationship between Jody and Colt is clearly the driving force of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he would, but so like this whole mystery, like the death, like the this other plot line is probably secondary to the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where I come at it with this story is I think that this movie is primarily, even though it's called an action comedy, at the end of the day, I actually think this movie is a romance movie. That it's
Mm-hmm.
all about Colt's relationship with this girl and whether or not they'll get back together and
Mm-hmm.
overcoming the obstacles between them. And it is because, like you said, all of the stakes are actually tied around his relationship with her and whether or not they'll get back together and they will be a success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And him
Well, that's where
supporting
all
her.
the like if you're gonna talk about stakes and like loss or anything like that, that's where all the stakes and loss happens. It's in the relationship. As far as
Mm-hmm.
his the other plot line, he gets hurt, he gets chased down, but it's not like
Mm-hmm.
he loses anything or anything.
Yeah.
But
Well, and it's like in every single action that he takes to some degree or another is tied to the relationship in that plot about finding Tom Rider, right? He's doing it primarily not because he gives a crap about Tom Rider, this guy that he's stunt doubled for. He doesn't care. He's doing
mm-hmm.
it because he thinks that if he brings Tom Rider back, it will make his ex successful in her movie. And that's what he wants, is he wants to make her successful by doing something that is potentially dangerous to himself to make sure that it's a success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that because it's all revolved uh, around the romance, that has to be the primary plot. Even when there's these action scenes, right, where the car is driving down the street with the dump truck and he's fighting this guy in the middle of a like back of a dumpster truck.
Yeah.
It looks like it's an action scene, but everything about it, even reflected in her doing her karaoke song while he's fighting this guy, demonstrates the stakes of the relationship, not the stakes of him getting hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see that she's the real suffering there is not that he gets punched in the face. The real suffering is that he is not at the bar with her like he promised he would be.
Mm-hmm.
And she feels abandoned after he promised that he had turned a new leaf and had become a better man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, you know, as the audience, he's doing this because he's trying to help her and support her in her dreams. But
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't know that because he's in the middle of a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the middle of singing a song. So it's they do a lot of scenes like that that show that even the action that's in this movie is supporting the relationship itself, and that's the primary goal. I
Mm-hmm.
think if you flip it and you say that this movie is primarily an action movie that is about the fighting that's going on and him finding Tom Ryder and saving him, right? Then, or saving the movie, then um this movie becomes a lot worse, frankly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That I think
Well,
that
no,
the
yeah,
rating that I would give it, it would be several pegs lower, just
mm-hmm.
because um frankly I don't think the B plot is that compelling.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even compelling to Colt in a way, where it's like he doesn't actually care all that much about this movie. Only
Uh-huh.
cares about it as far as like it overall involves Jody. So,
Mhm.
like, if you downgrade the relationship, make it about that, you would have had to show that he cared about the movie more than what he actually did, or cared more about finding Tom Ryder. But yeah, he doesn't really care all that much because he even calls Tom Ryder like a douchebag or something at some point. Like he
Right.